Hey there, PotatoCast fans. We're going to go ahead and jump in on bizthedad and gninjaGnome's game currently in progress. This is an attempt to redeem myself for totally screwing up my microphone earlier today. So let me go ahead, and my microphone is not currently pooched. So let's get it out of there and let's see what's actually going on here. So I missed the first few turns. Just let them know. I'm recording and commentating if you want to watch later. So we've got Biz on ASA, which has been a popular choice so far this tournament. A lot of people on ASA, and gninjaGnome up on Eddie Kim. So looking at what's been going on so far. Some reason Ninja dropped an Underworld Contacts, and they're going for even first. Don't see that ever played very often, and Force of Nature. So not sure what their plan is right now. Probably some sort of drip econ at some point, and I'm not sure what the plans of the Fall Guys. So it'll be interesting to see what develops there. Biz is looking pretty good for money right now. A couple IPOs in the bin. Got some pretty cheap taxing ice that can also end the run out there, and he is installed and double advanced something in server 1. From what I've seen so far, I feel like there's a good chance that's an Ikawa project that he's trying to get out of the door, but we shall see. We haven't seen anything on business side yet to indicate what big box he's taken or what restricted card he's using. Oh, cool. And we see an over advanced Project Vitruvius and getting a credit. So trying to stay on 7 credits. I don't know, I think that I don't know what's in his hand, but over advancing Vitruvius is super helpful, especially a lot of people on ACE are using calibration testing to do fast advance, and being able to trash that and then pull it back out of the bin for another go round is super helpful. So, but Biz is a good player, Justin, and I'm sure he had a plan there. So gninjaGnome has got a scrubber out, so he's low on credits, but he does have a good opportunity here now to run on server 2, click through it, and trash Adonis campaign if he so wishes. This is assuming that that's a buyer roared ace or something else that he can walk through without too much trouble. A lot of Anarchs have been playing Mining Accident, and I'm just checking my mic level. Cool. A lot of Anarchs are playing Mining Accident as a way to pressure the corp and also build up their own econ. So, wouldn't be surprised if that was in the works. Ooh, okay. Scooped an agenda. So seeing false lead in there is interesting. So one strategy, so the new HP 5.3 agenda that self protects Ikawa project, where you have to spend a click and 2 credits to steal it, kind of works well with some. With things like Strongbox, Mason Bellamy, and also False Lead, where you can manipulate the runner's ability to have enough clicks to actually steal. So it's pretty cool. In the same way that NAPD contract made sure that the runner needed to have a little bit of extra credits on hand in order to steal it, and Obokata taxes on cards, and the bad Wayland agenda that's coming out taxes on meat damage. Ikawa is kind of thematically linked to the rest of the HB color pie, and that they can it self protects with clicks. So if you install a single advance, could be going for another Project Vitruvius score, could be a 4-2 agenda. I'm not really sure what the typical. I don't think that there's really been a standard agenda suite that's stabilized for this ID yet, but we'll see. Could also be a calibration testing in that remote, which works nicely with the Vitruvius in the sense that when you score it, you can use Vitruvius to pull it back, and you're off to the races again. Super efficient plays with Asa. Looks like Ninja is struggling a little bit economically. We've seen an underworld contact in the bin. He still only has one link, and Human First has been doing some work, but we'd like to see something a little bit beefier coming out probably if I was him. Hoard him. Damn near killed him. It's a cool splash. It's interesting to see Wayland Ice getting actually splashed now. Yeah, Hoard'em is a decent piece of ice. There is expected to be a fair amount of turtle in the meta, and so having something that is anti-AI is really helpful. And Hoard'em, even though it's a little bit hard to get it, it's a little time-consuming to get it up into the range where it becomes anti-AI. It is super good when it is there. And the decoder, Force of Nature, which I've actually seen a decent amount of. And there's the turtle. Force of Nature, I've been seeing a decent amount of in this tournament. And God, it's so expensive to install it. And it's actually reasonably efficient against Hoard'em. All right, so it's a paper trail. That's exciting. So he's going to fire off the trace, and okay, I see. It's offering to trash all three of these connections. He gets his Human First box, which I think that might actually not be the right logic here. I think that the paper trail probably resolves before Human First delivers, but we'll see. They'll work it out. Smart folks, gnomes are known for their savvy when it comes to resolving complex timing effects, so I'm ever confident that between a gnome and a dad, they'll crack this nut. So Biz is looking pretty good right now. At 4 points, good on credits, and gninjaGnome is kind of at a pretty big credit deficit right now. So we'll have to see how it goes from here, but I think that it's kind of if bizthedad can sort of keep pressure up. Looks like they're working it out. So he is letting Human First get trashed. Okay. Probably trying to save the scrubber, in which case well, there's a question. Let's see if we can figure this out. Man, this game is hard. Okay. Well, it looks like they just went on with it. Curious to know what the ruling is on that. Um, so the question was whether, since paper connection trashes all resources, whether Fall Guy can be used to prevent the trashing of one of the resources. Sorry, trashing of all connections. Whether Fall Guy can be used to prevent Scrubber from trashing or not. I'm not really sure. It could go either way, I guess. I think that if there is an order that gets chosen by Biz, then yeah, he's right that he could choose to trash the Fall Guy first, and then Bob's your uncle. If your uncle's name is Robert and he goes by Bob for short. gninjaGnome here, digging a little bit more, getting some credits. So far, not really turning up the pressure. Yeah, I'm not sure what the best way is for him to move forward here. With a couple of turtle counters, he'll be able to get through all this low strength ice and start applying some central pressure and force Biz to actually res a couple things. We got a sure gamble, feeling flush with cash. I like the idea of, oh, here we go. Got some Mile going on. So it's a big tempo hit to spend 6 on a console right now. But, he's got... Goes broke hitting HQ. Last season or the season before, me and Justin, Biz had just like a brutal game towards the end of the tournament where I was playing Max with Ma and just got so lucky and just got Ma hits on everything that I needed to. He had nightmares about it, if I recall correctly. One thing that's kind of a bummer about Ma with Ed Kim is that when Ed's ability triggers, you don't get to use Ma. So it's a little bit anti-synergistic, but, it's all right. They're both good cards. They go good together. And Biz has the credits, so he just goes ahead and gets an Ace of Trigger to get the server 1 probably an agenda in there, and also get the ice out there. And he knows that HQ is going to be a pretty appealing target, given that he can get in there for, 3 credits isn't nothing. But once Turtle's up to strength, it'll be pretty cheap, especially on last click. You'll be getting mod triggers and just disrupting stuff left and right. Having seen the Biotic Labor in Justin's hand, he might be, we can guess that he's probably leading on Fast Advance, because that's what that card is for. God, it's fucking terrible commentary. It's embarrassing. Nevertheless, we persist. And I think that we're probably going to see some calibration testing going on over here. But so far, we've only seen 2 influence on Justin's side of the board. So there's a lot of tricks left up his sleeve. Likewise, we've only seen 3 influence on gninjaGnome's board. So he's probably splashing for R&D pressure cards like Indexing or Maker's Eye. But if he doesn't get some cheddar together, we'll never find out. Alright, double enigmas. If he lets the lose click fire, which I think I might in this case, then he can get in here for 2 and go to Trigger Town with Eddie Kim and his big hammer. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so he does decide to lose a click on the run. That's tough, but we don't know what's in his hand. Could be that he has a sure gambler or something, and he's trying to take up the level where he can use that, and doesn't want to spend the credits to get in, or something of that nature. Oh, MC austerity policy. That's a card. What a card. I think MC austerity policy is super strong, and that's not a real original statement or anything. But it's just brutal. It's so cheap to res. It's something that the runner absolutely has to address if they possibly can. Because being able to, advance a 4-2 or a 5-3 agenda sword from hand, that's pretty good. And while you're trying to set up for that, you're just dealing with this perpetual tax of a click. So Ninja ditched a day job for Underworld Contact. Might be a little bit late in the game to get an Underworld Contact on the board, and also they need another link, so that that was just kind of a speed bump that maybe wasn't ideal right now. But you can't play day job when there's an MCA austerity policy going on. So it looks like his econ sort of showed up all of a sudden at the end here, and not exactly ideal. So barring something really surprising, looks like Justin's got this game locked up, and it's I don't know. It looks like Asa is in a really good spot. I think it's got a strong generic ID ability that really supports a lot of the kind of asset or upgrade based fast advance plans that are available with MCI austerity policy and with calibration testing. As we can see, he's been able to also make hay with the Adonis campaigns and Maryland campaigns. Clearly seeing 3 IPOs and a hedge fund are helpful as well. Yeah, that's got to be game. There it goes. So yeah, Ace is pretty good, man. Seems pretty good. Well played on both sides. Sorry that I missed the beginning of the game. I was just hopping on to the old Stim Slack and saw some fun coming down. And of course, it's always a good time to snoop a little bit, see what everyone's doing, see what kind of secret tech's going on. see, nope. Brevin, take. Okay, a little fake out there. So let's see if we can get our team together. Ninjas, gnomes, dads. There we go. uh. Yeah. I thought we wouldn't see. Good times. Netrunner as she is played. It's a game of math, bluffing, reading comprehension sometimes. All right, so we got Biz on Ayla. Ayla being an extremely popular pick this time around, and gninjaGnome on Titan. Titan is one of my favorite IDs of all time, especially the fast advance style of Titan. And they've just gotten so many really cool tools in the last few cycles. And getting 17 influences, obviously, pretty sweet. So it looks like we've got some Tricolate going on. So lots of good advanceable ices in the pool right now. They have the influence to splash for genotyping, which is one of the only, I guess, like that and Wampo or Reclamation are the only archives restoration cards that we have available. On the other side of the board, Ayla is showing Ma, which is, I think there's a sense that there's going to be a decent amount of fast advance in this season of the StimHack Cache Refresh League. And Ma is kind of a good generic tool for disrupting those sorts of multiple card combination types of game plans. So we see Ma go down in a dirty laundry run. So we're just going to start turning the pressure on from the very beginning. Uh-oh. Nice. And Ma finds its mark and hits a genotyping. So that's kind of a bummer. That would be, the card that is most helpful in recovering from Ma problems. So I think right now gninjaGnome kind of has to quickly stabilize the situation. So I think a play like Hedge Fund, hoard him over R&D, and IPO would be pretty reasonable. Goes for the Firewall and hopefully hits the IPO. There we go. So now he's going to be able to keep bizthedad out for a while. Oof. That must have been quite an envy ram. He had modded and Amakwa. So got that out on the cheap. Another dirty laundry. And, his... So far, all we're seeing is kind of an event-based economy, which runs the risk of eventually, running dry. But, we'll see how that develops. So far, it's allowed Justin to keep a really fast tempo, apply a lot of pressure. And Gnome says, Gnome, thank you to those turtle counters by icing archives. One thing that I actually really like about Turtle is that like that, and also, and there are other things like Breach Dome, where it's sorry, not Breach Dome. Like icing archives is a really sensible play against Turtle. Um, Breach Dome, its very existence in the pool means that like putting stuff face down in archives is also a reasonable play, and those things kind of combine to make it so that it's not so crazy to ice archives. It makes it less suspicious when you have to pitch agendas in there. So that's the thing that I think is pretty cool, that sort of developed as both more cards have come out that have focused on archives, or have at least been triggered by archives runs. And as Jackson Howard has left us, and lesser facsimiles have had to take his place. So it looks like Gnome is going all in on the advanceable ice train with a satellite grid and mass commercialization. I think satellite grid's really cool. I haven't used it in quite a while, but I think that it's got some possibility. There's a lot of decent advanceable ice out there right now, and it's really pretty conceivable that for one credit you can give a pretty substantial boost to an entire server. So I think it's cool. I'm glad to see it get in play. It looks like getting a little bit sticky in terms of agenda flood here, and he's got to be thinking about how he can get some of these agendas out of his hand. Fortunately, all of the ice we've seen so far that ends the run has been installed, and the only thing he has left in hand is Colossus. It makes sense to go ahead and start setting up a Colossus factory over there. He's in a little bit of a tricky position with the 4 and 5 advancement costs agendas in hand as well, just because things like Trick of Light and Biotic, if he's using Good or Shipment from Tenon or Audacity, need to be doubled up in order to get anything out of his hand. And that's going to constrain him a little bit until he can get a little more ice out there. So this is cool. We see the satellite grid go down. I think that's a pretty reasonable play. That server is going to be important for scoring stuff or other things. That's a super great sentence. Nice commentary. And I think that he's going to like having extra advancements over there. So HQI plus Ma means that something's probably going to happen here. If he... Okay, so Biz just ends it. That's fine. Get him down a little bit. Just kind of use that credit cushion and SMC to threaten the whole board. Make him spend some money to res things and just see where it takes him. He finds the satellite grid. What does he think about that? That's one of those cards that I think it's cool, and I think that it's got certainly I understand why you want it in this deck, especially like with mass comm. That's just money in the bank. It's one of those cards where you see it and you're like, what is the plan with this? And maybe if it was something that we saw more commonly, people would just let it ride. But it's like you see it and you're like, I'm going to spend 3 cards to trash it because I don't know what the heck's going on with this thing. All right. So Gnome's got the opportunity to start building out that server if he's interested in that, and see if you can jam an agenda. So we see the Enigma go on the outside, and probably just play hedge and get some bucks. But yeah, so now that Biz has seen that that Gnome will put stuff that's not an agenda in that server and not advance it. gninjaGnome does have the chance to put armored servers in there and just leave it and then trick of light, advance it next turn. So we'll see. I think that Biz has Dean Lister in hand now, Turtle on the board, and that's a pretty it's pretty challenging to keep somebody out of the remote when you've got those two working together. Okay. Just going for it. So he put the armored servers in there and advanced twice. Dean's coming down, and he's going to go ahead and make this run happen. So he should be able to get in here, and there's not a ton that Gnome can do about that. Might as well, make him work for it a little bit. I think the main benefit here is getting the Lister cracked, and so it's probably not worth resing the Colossus. But I think that making him do something in order to get Lister off the board is a good play. Okay. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Biz doesn't have any permanent economy set up, and so making him spend an extra 2 credits here is defensible for sure. Yep. Scoops the servers, and then no, he thinks, okay, 8 credits, feeling like he's got a shot at this. That's a bummer, because the Hordem face check is amongst the worst face checks of all. Man, I love firing that second sub when it's triple advanced. I like seeing it happen. So I don't want to take sides here, but I was definitely rooting for search R&D for up to 2 cards, shuffle R&D, and end the run to fire. So Gnome is low on credits right now, but he does have the opportunity to advance the firewall on HQ, advance the Colossus, and crack the Masscom to kind of get back in the game, credit-wise. Because without at least 4 credits, he's going to feel a little bit jammed up. Okay. It's interesting play. We do know that yeah, I'm not sure that I would have installed the high risk investment there. Mainly because while Biz doesn't have the ability to threaten the server immediately, oh no, he does now. With a couple of runs on archives, he gets up to the point where he can get in there, and it's going to be sitting there for a little while because Gnome is kind of in a hole with his credit situation. Yeah, I think here I'd probably advance the Fireball, advance the Colossus, and oh yeah, it's okay, and crack the Mascom. Uh, just because he's gonna need the money to get that high risk investment off the board pretty soon. Uh, Use Justin. We'll check that at some point. Yeah, and I think that Justin knows that he can't afford to res this. He knows what are things that the corp wants to advance 3 times and knows that it costs 4 to res the Hortum. Oh, see a data sucker come out. That's pretty cool. So it looks like Justin is using the data sucker to help defray turtle costs. That was a very quick rearrange. I wonder how many agendas were in there. Wow, that might be a game right there. That seems like that was a pretty juicy indexing. That is a spicy meatball. So, yeah, that's yikes. Yeah, that was I so aside from that being just like a savage indexing run, there wasn't a lot that gninjaGnome did that was wrong per se. I think that that ice placement, he may have been a little bit hasty putting the Hortum over archives when that 3 advancement counter anti AI clause is super good and very helpful on a scoring remote when you're up against turtles. But other than that, maybe finding some opportunity to play the Mascom earlier, and I think maybe not resing the Colossus when maybe not resing that Colossus on this run would have been helpful for gninjaGnome staying out of the black here, or out of the red. But yeah, it was interesting, cool games. I'm glad that I had a chance to watch them. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here. This has been good tournament so far. Lots of interesting stuff on the board, and looking forward to recording and commentating and maybe even playing a game or two. So thanks a lot for watching the Potato Cast, this time with audio and video, and we'll catch you next time.